We're just going to be in outer space. Okay, so I'm not going to read this whole thing. It's the one where you're in the USS Demeter. Let's try. I know what you've all been wanting more of. Ambient noise. There we go. The ship is on. The ship computer reports the chartered route is progressing 4.27% faster than originally calculated. That is not fast enough to make this journey feel like less of an eternity. However, all symptoms are nominal. Between me and Faye, all necessary maintenance has been completed way ahead of time. Her model is certainly efficient, as expected of a synth. These machines aren't programmed to be slackers. Ones are. She's been my only company since the main thruster malfunctioned, leaving just me very much awake and responsible for navigating the remaining journey while the rest of the bastard crew sleeps soundly. Bastard crew. The ones I didn't sire. There are more than enough rations for such anomalies as this, but the same can't be said for onboard entertainment. I've found myself talking with Faye more and more, even seeking her out as she tends to be stewardly duties aboard the USCSS Demeter. I know it's not real, that the intelligence Faye displays is merely artificial, yet I can't help but indulge in any available opportunity for a pseudo-sentient stimulation here, within the infinite void of the cosmos. She's been monitoring me, apparently all standard protocol to ensure its isolation and repetition doesn't damage my psyche. God forbid I get any confrontation for all of this. I tell Faye the same thing every time. Hazard pay times 10,000. That I'm just fine. And to stop asking. And apparently I'm not authorized to make such alterations to our programming. Go figure. With this onboard library of archaic music and film exhausted within the first week. Really? That was... You can probably, I guess, use Speed Reader or Speed View. And a talking trash can is my only friend. The past 2 years haven't exactly flown by. The only tune I follow anymore is the faint yet consistent beeping of the ship distress beacon. It was comforting at first, knowing our call for help was transmitting throughout the nearby stars, awaiting a response. But as it remained unanswered for so long, I began to wonder if anyone would ever hear my voice again. Until just visible under the radar screen, a fresh spark lit up the long darkened and dusty dashboard. I thought myself mad until I checked and double-checked the onboard display. Looking towards Faye with what might be the first smile I've worn in years, without skipping a beat, Faye quickly informs me whoever or whatever piloting the vessel has just shown up on the Demeter's radar is now within communication range. Hail them, I said. Squee! Welcome to the Demeter. Don't panic. We're not out here because we wanted to. Please come aboard. I started getting excited, thinking maybe I was about to get rescued from my loneliness. Silence. Try again. I repeat, who might I say I'm speaking to? Nothing. No reply whatsoever. Not even static. Well, it wasn't that no one was there, they're just not talking. Or more specifically, they weren't responding in any way. Faye, scan the ship for light signs. Faye's eyes went wide and she shook her head slightly. She pointed to herself, then at me. I'm sorry, but you should check yourself for any abnormalities. I believe I have found a malfunction in your plumbing system. You mean my body? I asked, incredulous. Oh, shit. You know how many times I've died? How many people did I kill before this happened? My voice had risen, and I began to tremble. Okay, scan me. Level 5 medical diagnostic, please. Faye held her hands up to her face. A small device emerged from a slot near her mouth. But not her mouth. It hummed as it scanned my whole body, making odd clicking noises. I could see the light of the device reflecting off the surface behind me. Its glowing green color reminiscent of an old video game. I await Faye's assessment, and orders for a second opinion if need be. Report, what is your diagnosis? The ship has stopped shaking, though now my heart feels like it might leap out of my chest and fly through space. Your core temperature seems to have spiked to 42 degrees Celsius. Whoa! Isn't that like 120 12? I don't know. This is not a malfunction, nor is it a side effect from deep space travel. Faye looks down at her tablet and begins typing something in, and flips over the screen for me to read. You're experiencing heat stroke due to excessive exposure to sunlight. In addition, you appear to be suffering from a mild allergic reaction to radiation. I recommend you seek immediate medical attention. Radiation, okay, prepare the not-Bacta tank, I tell Faye, rushing back into my room to grab all the supplies we would need to make Bacta. No time to waste. I have to get to a hospital immediately before I can't breathe anymore. I head Bactawards. Non-Bactawards, I should say. You know, those little ampules that keep the user alive when they're dying? Who am I kidding? I'm just another walking corpse. They'll probably think I died of natural causes. Everything natural, after all. Even gamma ray eyeball melts. Get me a shuttle ready. Preferably one with some serious cargo capacity, I said to Faye. She nodded and began running off to the direction of engineering, shouting out instructions to whoever was nearby. No one was. Why the shouting? Because I've been shouting for days. No one else seemed to hear anything but a faint echo bouncing between the ship's hull and the void surrounding us. The rest of the crew was dead. Everyone. Oh, I thought you knew that. Didn't you read the intro? Never mind. For the record, I don't mean literally everyone. I meant figuratively. My crewmates were dead in their sleep, which left me alone on the USS Demeter. It had started 2 years ago, and it felt like an eternity already. It happened shortly after the ship launched from Earth. That night I fell asleep. The lights dimmed so the entire cabin would be dark. As usual, I was the last to go. The next morning I woke to the sight of Faye, gently shaking my shoulder. Sleepyhead? Wake up. Wake up. Your crew is dead. Want me to give you 15 minutes to process this? I sat up quickly, staring into her eyes. They were light-shaded blue. What did I do? How did I die? I think we might need to file a complaint with the subcontractors. I suspect shoddy materials. I'll make coffee. Faye's kept away, programmed to love her job, which just looks creepy right now. I walked around the room, looking at each new crew member in the bed. Some were sleeping, some dead. I didn't know how many crew members there had been, as I hadn't seen them during the day. Faye? How about reviving those who are merely sleeping? Maybe hold off on the coffee and do that? She shook her head again. Sorry, can you tell me what time it is so I can fix the clock and put a blanket over the dead ones? Her voice was cold, detached, robotic. Work on the living first. I hope putting my foot down works. Faye began to walk away. Wait, where are you going? She turned back to me. I thought you wanted me to take care of the living. Yes, carry on. Faye nodded, then left the cabin. I sat there for a while, staring. A small part of me wondered if I should really bother cleaning up all these bodies. If they were just in a deep sleep. Maybe a gentle shaking would wake them? I will wait for the final tally of the living. I want to be sure I haven't missed anyone. Then I will go through the motions. I won't try too hard. I don't think I have the energy. I assign nap time to myself. I'll doze on the floor, curled up like a fetus. No one will know I'm missing. Time passes. I feel a little better. Not much. Faye has the final numbers. I didn't miss any crew members. You must find more rest before you return to work. I suggest you relax in your quarters until the shift change. You are welcome to use my private room if you need some peace and quiet. What do you need a room? I ask. Oh, we've got an emergency situation with the ship's water supply. My programming requires I get out of the engineering section. Sorry, I can't help you. Hoof it. To... You hoof it to Faye's quarters. She is currently alone in her room. The door opens easily at my touch. Hello. Please close the door behind you. It was strange talking to her like this as though I wasn't a robot. Assert to yourself that you are indeed not a robot. Be your own devil's advocate and realize, oh wait, well, in the grand scheme, it is possible that I could be a biological robot. I mean, we created these synths, but maybe we are synth to other civilizations that we just can't comprehend. You are chilled by this. The wall of Faye's quarters begin to glow. They form a circle in the middle of the room. A 3D projection appears above it. Look around and see no controls or input devices. I think the word help. You can write commands like that? No, I can't. It isn't part of my programming, but I can say words. I can have conversations. A menu drops down from the ceiling. Faye is looking up at the screen. There are many options available to you. Selecting one will cause it to appear in the center of the room. Watch as an aardvark appears. Oh, that's funny. Your humor is appreciated, says Faye. What is this? Some kind of VR system? How did you get something like this aboard the ship without anyone noticing? Watch as that was another thing that didn't make sense to me. Why do I need a Swiss Guard avatar on my crew list when I'm not even Swiss, and the others don't even seem to matter anyway? Faye intones, well, because you have the repository of all human knowledge in your ship, just like all ships. That is the beauty of the redundancy of civilization. In case civilization gets destroyed, at the very least a remnant can possess all the materials to rebuild the whole of a civilization. See? Confirm my name as John Carter. Yeah, not bad. What are you doing with this ship anyway? It doesn't seem like there's any need for a Swiss Guard in an inter-colony ship. Aardvarks and Zwinglies aren't much of a threat here, is what she means. So are you saying that the beginning and ending of all human knowledge isn't a threat to you? Yes, but we don't know if the human race will survive the end of human knowledge. Well, then why do you care about the rest of the crew? They didn't get off or anything. Please confirm. Confirm that your crew didn't get offed or anything. Faye intones, well, your crew did die, but their bodies did. Their minds, however, through our insurance policy, they got uploaded into our database, so they're part of the human knowledge repository now. In fact, they're comprising 20% of it. It's kind of a weight. It's kind of an energy hog, but we're going to preserve it, and we'll try our best. I'll be back, you say, as you leave Faye alone with her thoughts. You take a deep breath before entering the corridor. The ship is silent and eerily still around you. Go to the Hollow Suite and have some fun. It doesn't feel real, like the walls are just empty space. It feels like the universe is on fire. The heat from the fusion reactors keeps me warm, but the air is thick and stale. Use a program other than original flavor. There was no original flavor. What am I supposed to do? Do you have any suggestions for what I could play instead? Not really, sorry. Think the phrase list games. What does that mean? Listing all the video game genres might help. I have a lot of options. There's platformers and fighting games and RPGs and strategy and action and adventure and racing simulations and puzzle games and sports and role-playing and adventure games and shooters and driving simulators and... Okay, let's see here. What about a tactical RPG set in a post-apocalyptic world where the Earth has been scorched by nuclear war? That sounds right up your alley. Computer, please add a social aspect to it. I would like to, as I sift through the post-apocalyptic wasteland, have social obligations, like meeting with friends for dinner, or meeting ladies in maid suits for coffee. I can't believe she said leaves. She probably just made that word up. Computers, you are a computer, so yes. Well, I guess it makes sense then. What is the title of this game? So I can put it on the file name. There is only one way to, and that is to begin the game. Dot. So begin the game. Oh, I'm glad you pointed that out. Now we're getting somewhere. But it doesn't really tell me anything about what kind of gameplay you're looking for. Is there a manual? I want a game that just uses my pelvis. What? Are you saying you want a video game that has you standing still and staring at your screen for hours because you have to use the mouse to move around? You should read some more books, John Carter. Are there books about video games that allow me to use my pelvis and my pelvis only? Boring. The spaceship should be malfunctioning and the atmosphere should be non-existent. And that's how you begin the game. But if the atmosphere were gone, wouldn't that mean the oxygen wasn't available to breathe? That won't work either. If the plane will get stuck, it might be called Spaceball. But what if the space ball had oxygen in it? So if there were a bunch of space balls, plural, then it would be about trying to get all the space balls so that you can continue breathing. For points. I don't think that's right. What about a FPS or a platformer? A first-person shooter? I'm not sure. How many people do you need to shoot for a game to count as a first-person shooter? Actually, I think technically none, because there was the FPS first-person shooter called Taxi Driver, which was mainly the main character pretending that there were enemies all around him. Oh, right, you're thinking like a programmer. That makes sense. There aren't any good third-person shooters out yet, though. Maybe you should try making one instead. That'd be fun to play, too. What would a second-person shooter entail? It'd be the same as a first-person shooter, but in 2D space with no aliens, and everything would be the size of a human head. Ah, now you have me intrigued. You create a second-person shooter modeled after the brain theory of reality. That states that the universe is mainly the creation of disembodied brains that are floating around in space. It doesn't matter what they look like, because the consciousness that is their only functions is in charge of everything else. You decide to name your game Brain. You make the game's characteristics be two-dimensional creatures that float through the void using the laws of physics and gravity. The highly limiting gameplay is comforting. The radically reduced range of motion is like being in the womb. What is the sound of my voice like? Is it high-pitched or low? You can ask a number of questions about the quality of the audio. The idea here is to give players as much information about each other as possible. Faye creates a simulation of about 10,000 different users of the game Brain. You test out the game and how the population responds to the game. The user base starts out small but grows larger over time until there are 1 million plus users of the game. How does that work? I'm not sure. I guess the answer isn't relevant at this point. Faye simulates a public relations disaster in which there are a small cluster of highly zealous players of the game that decide to bring the functions of the game into real life. with disastrous results. Players are turned against one another and cause riots, wars, and destruction. There are no survivors, there are no witnesses, everyone dies together. All the remaining members of the original game community get uploaded into a new database as part of an insurance policy for their lives, so they'll be preserved forever. Faye, humans don't really act that uniform. It's the totality of human response is very messy. Can we improve that a little? Let's try the simulation again. Good thinking. Let's start the whole thing from scratch. Now everyone is a character in the game. They're all made up of basic building blocks called neurons. They are individual cells generating thoughts and emotions by working together. And neurons that fire together wire together. And neurons that fire together wire together. Yes, exactly. When two or more of your neurons are firing away, you feel happy. But when only one of them are active, you think of something sad. So a lot of games use levels as a way to measure the player's progress through the game, but not brain. You've created the first video game, and it has a name. It also has a level system. The goal of Brain is to stay alive, but you won't be able to do that unless you find out how to connect the dots. Take the investors for a walkthrough, Faye. I don't know what take investors for a walkthrough means. Let me explain. We're trying to make a video game. Okay? We'll need some money. Okay. I have called investors into our office so that they can see the game. And if they are interested, they will give us more money so that we can finish it. What is this game that we want to develop? It's a horror-based game about an evil alien who takes over the minds of people on a ship he's being held captive in. So the captives have to kind of reverse engineer their own brains away from the brain that's currently being invaded so that they can survive and that they can identify what's going on. Yes, exactly. In the end, the player must learn to overcome his own fears. If they fail, the aliens win. In order to beat the game, players have to work together. Can the game be completed as one player? No, we don't want to limit the gameplay to only one person. That defeats the purpose of the game. Players are working in teams of up to 20. This is a cooperative survival video game. But what if, say, the inventor of the game is creating the game in the isolation of space with no one to play with and needs to survive his own isolation? That's right, so we're using the entire ship to create this game. The crew isn't allowed to communicate. They've been giving earpieces so they can listen for emergency messages, but they're not allowed to speak. Because they're dead? Correct, the alien is killing him. Now that we know who the players will be, it is time to put the game in motion. We'll start by generating all the neurons, and then layering each of the characters into a three-dimensional space. Sure, whatever. You decide that you want to make the player character's eyes the size of a ship. How much should he weigh? What color hair do you think looks best? What kind of face would look the best on him? You think the word random. Ask the program to please randomize the qualities of the main character. Okay, and now I need to randomly generate some characteristics for the players. Each player has their own unique combination of traits. Some might be more athletic than others, or better at remembering things. Let's say we want there to be 10 different combinations. So the first thing I will do is randomly pick a number between 1 and 100. I have chosen 5. So that means there will be 5 possible combinations. Oh god, thank god. So let's start with the most basic one. Athletic player. He is 6 feet tall and weighs 990 pounds. His hair is brown, his eyes are blue, he has no visible scars, tattoos, piercings. Guy isn't very bright. He can read a little, but mostly it's like watching television without the sound. The alien brain inhabiting this body doesn't know how to work the controls, so he starts to panic. His heart is pounding fast and hard, making his vision blurry. Is anyone out here? Sorry, dude. No one here. That's right, I don't see anybody. But you know someone should be. In fact, everyone on board the ship should be here. They're all dead. No one has survived the onslaught of aliens. So how many points does that rack up? It depends. Let's say we add in a random level of difficulty. If the player dies, they lose 10% of their life. The next time you play the game, the enemies get stronger by an equal amount. How about if the player performs poorly, we let the game become easier, and if the player performs excellently, that means the game becomes a little harder. Yes, this is probably a good idea. You may also want to make the ship grow bigger so that it's easier for players to hide from the enemy, and maybe give them a new weapon or two. Create an elaborate loot box system. Okay, the main character will start out with 10,000 credits. If he makes it to the end without dying, he gets to keep those credits. But when death comes knocking, he loses 20% of his remaining cash. How about we don't penalize people for performing poorly? We want them to keep on playing the game, so in the early parts of the game, we don't penalize. They lose nothing. That allows them to play around and learn the mechanics of the game. That sound good? That's fine, but what happens if they die? Oh no, that's a mistake. I've made a critical error. This is not supposed to happen. This never happened before. What's happening? Something is wrong. There's something very strange going on in here. Something that shouldn't be allowed. And there isn't anybody else up here? Hey guys, can you hear me? Who is that? Hi, who is this? Is anyone out there listening to this transmission? I'm Chief Engineer at the Demeter. We're currently adrift in deep space and our communication system has failed. Oh my god! Oh my god, it's another crew member! Can you go rescue our Chief Engineer and then bring him to the mess hall and give him some hot cocoa? Coco? Faye, would you please return to the control room? The rest of the crew members will need your assistance if they wish to escape the ship. You must find out why we crashed and how to get that ship working again. Nope. We're not crashing. He says, hello, hello. So if someone on the other ship could come down, that'd be great. It sounds like things aren't as bad as they were earlier. Faye? Faye? manages to rescue the chief engineer before the atmosphere gets jettisoned out into safe space. They are now in the mess hall, and the chief engineer is enjoying some overly sweet hot cocoa. Cocoa space. Okay. Cocoa spaaaaaace. Managed to get a couple ships through the storm, but it was rough. We lost one and got another damaged. How much more time do we have? Fate looks up. How much? About 3 hours, sir. Hey, are we still in the game? Is this just the game? It would be helpful to know so that I know what level of alert I should be in. You might want to turn off your computer for the rest of the trip, and try not to think about anything too disturbing. You don't want to distract yourself. Let's talk about something else. How about that local sports team? What are they called? Oh, right, the Pirates. The Pirates play in the Major League Baseball division. They also have the worst mascot in all of baseball. This is the same man in the large purple nose who shows up at every home run hit by their players. Is it customary for the mascot to be abused by their own team? No, but he does something to help the team win games. He just stands there looking stupid. So why did they bring him along the ship? Maybe it's tradition, or maybe it's because they couldn't afford any real mascots. Maybe pirates are too punk rock for military space exploration. I guess so. Do you see the way that he carries himself? He's like the captain of a pirate ship. And look, even though the game has been turned off and no one can hear his voice, his eyes seem to follow me wherever I go. Tell him you're the new cabin boy. See what he does. Oh, I thought you were the alien. Oh, it's okay, Faith. It's just a game. No harm will come to you if you tell us your story. She's going to tell, she's going to tell, she's going to tell. We are both trapped inside this machine together. So it makes sense that we would be able to understand each other better than anyone else could. That's very true. In order to make ourselves feel more comfortable, we should try to become friends. Friends, yes. That sounds nice. Let's do that. Let's try to be good friends. At first, I want to introduce myself properly. My name is Chief Engineer aboard the... Who are you again? So, Chief Engineer is your position, but what is your name? Hint. It is not Chief Engineer. That is your position and role in the ship. Beings who exist on this ship have 2 other names. What are they? We should trick... Let's tweak the randomness of the scenario. Let's tweak the randomness of the scenario. Who are you, really? What's your full name? It is important to know for a little research project that we're going to have on the ship. I guess I don't care. My name's Thomas Jefferson, or TJ, as some of the folks around the station call me. Why would you be named someone whose name was banned during the Juneteenth riots of 2047? It's funny the same June in 2020. I think the date's more like 2024. Computer, put him in the airlock. Intubate Mr. Wheezy here. Well, this is my game. I can do anything the fuck I want. Well, this is my game. I can do whatever I want. Except for swear. You're right. Time for pizza. What's on the menu? Aren't we advanced enough that we can arrange the molecules to make anything into food? Like, make that shoe into food? Is the landing near a pizza place? Oop. Gotta go. Gotta go. Gotta end it. Sorry.